Next morning, the Lancers came and got Thomas Bilney, and they took him out to the Lambert pits. Visit it today, and they took him out there. He was the first of the reformers to be martyred in England. They tied him to the stake, and you hoped they'd already started the fire or something helpful, but they hadn't. It was going to be as painful as all you can imagine. And they started the fire, and he stood there with an enormous amount of grace. The recorders say, you can read a lot about details on it. And he stood there with an enormous amount of grace. And after the fire got going, and after it looked like he was being consumed, they hadn't heard anything from him. All of a sudden, they heard a voice from the flames that defied what they were seeing. And what that voice said, it was quoting Isaiah 43. It was quoting, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they will not overflow you. And when you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flames scorch you. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior." And those were the words they heard from a strong man being burned alive at that moment. And those men who stood around him, they didn't know at that moment, but very soon they themselves would be tied and chained to a stake and being burned alive. And what they saw Thomas Bilney go through at that time, they realized it was the grace of God. That all those fanciful stories they had told, there's something true to that. That when you're in the midst of it, God's grace is there with you. And then when God says, I will be there with you at that moment, God really is with you there at that moment.